So lately there's been a lot of interest in alternate ukulele tunings. So I wanted to share my favorite alternate tuning with you. This is a baritone tuning, but if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you how to apply it to standard C tuning as well. I call this BEBE tuning, and I stumbled on it around the time my son was born, but that's not why it's called BEBE tuning. It's called BEBE because the open strings are B, E, B, E. Here's how it works. No special strings or string replacing needed. Just start with a baritone ukulele in DGBE tuning, the standard tuning. Now, I always play baritone in reentrant or high D tuning because I really like this sound. Some people call this Lyle Ritz tuning because, you know, it really suited Lyle's jazzy sound, and he used it a lot. Benny Chong, Byron Yasui are also fans of this high D tuning. Now, I don't know how this is going to sound in low D baritone tuning, but I think what I'm going to show you here will still work. So here we go. You don't need to do anything to the two strings that are closest to the floor. They just stay as is. But tune the D string, which is the one closest to your nose, down to a B, like this. It should be the same note as the second string. So if you play them together, they should sound identical, like that. Now tune the G down to an E, like this. There it is. This string should now be the same as the first string, just an octave lower. Now strum all four strings and you get this sound. It's very open, resonant, and it's kind of, I don't know, kind of lonesome sounding, you know? Notice that there are four strings here, but only two notes, B and E. If this were a fiddle, we'd call this cross tuning. Now, just start putting your fingers down on the frets, you know? And just see what happens. And if you like a sound, remember it and do it again. This is really what I love about alternate tunings. They put you back in the beginner's mind. It sort of jolts you out of those well-worn fretboard habits that you have, that we all have. It's like putting a blindfold on and, you know, trying to walk around your house. You know, you hear things and you feel things in a completely new way. So the first thing I do if I really want to dig into a new tuning and to write songs and to really get to know it, I try to find families of chords. And usually that means a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord. Or if I'm speaking in, you know, non-music theory terms, it's a chord that feels like home. That's the 1. A chord that feels like away. That's the 5. And a chord that feels somewhere in between. That's the 4. And that way I can start to use my new tuning on songs that I already know. So for example, well, let me show you a basic family of chords in BEBE tuning. It's super easy to get started. To play an E chord, just strum all the open strings. Done. That's E right there. Now put a finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Now just like that, you have a sort of a B chord. Simple. It's sort of B. Now keep moving up that string to the 5th fret, like that. That gives you a sort of an A chord, which is the 4 chord in this key, which is also really lovely sounding. And that's it. And notice that these last two that we've learned, these are not vanilla sounding chords. They have some really nice bonus notes in there which make them sound a bit more expensive. So see if you can use these 3 chords to play a simple song that you know. Here's an example. My bonnie lies over the ocean. My bonnie lies over the sea. My bonnie lies over the ocean. Oh, bring back my bonnie to me. Now that is really just the tip of the iceberg, and I can't resist showing you one more bonus variation on each of those chords. So here we go. If you're still with me, great. Let's geek out on this tuning together. If you're not still with me, then hey, this video is going to be here when and if you're ready to come back to it. So to play a slightly fancier version of E, just add 1 finger on the 1st string, but on the 4th fret. It's still an E chord, but it sounds a little brighter and more sort of sparkling. Now let's look at a fancier version of the A chord. Here's the one we found, 5th fret. Just add 1 finger. Add the 5th fret on the 2nd string as well. And now you're fretting the 2 middle strings on the 5th fret, and you're leaving the outer 2 strings open. And here's where it gets really fun. To play a different version of B, just slide this shape up 2 frets, and bingo, you have a nice alternate version of B. And here is an amazing bonus. Keep going 2 more frets, and you'll get the 6th chord, C sharp minor, which is just an absolutely heartbreaking sound. And it's really easy to play. So here is a version of My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean with some of these optional upgrades that I've shown you. The winds have blown over the ocean. The winds have blown over the sea. The winds have blown over the ocean and brought back my Bonnie to me, brought back my Bonnie to me. Now you have 2 versions of E, 2 versions of A, and 2 versions of B to work with. And you can mix and match them and have a ton of fun. You can see why I fell in love with this tuning. It works beautifully in these gentle melodic songs, but it also works really well in heavier, bluesier stuff. And that's actually, for the most part, where I've used this tuning. Songs like Promenade, Tie One On, and She Still Got It, which are all from my album, The Old Silo. And check those out if you want to hear this tuning in action in some songs. So I want to finish by showing you what it sounds like when you really crank this tuning up and add a bit of overdrive. Today I just grabbed this amp right here. It's a little Roland Mini Cube amp, and I figured, hey, if it sounds killer on this, it'll sound amazing on just about anything. So let's turn it on and turn it up. Oh yeah. Now my favorite trick when I'm plugged in like this and when I'm turned up is to play the same note on the 2nd string and the 4th string and bend one of them slightly so the 2 notes really like fight against one another. It really makes the ukulele growl. So here we go with a little sample of how this tuning sounds when you turn it up to 11. If you want to get some of these same sounds, but you don't have a baritone ukulele, you have a soprano or a concert or a tenor, you can try this. Instead of tuning the regular way, and instead of tuning BEBE the way I showed you in this tutorial, you would tune instead to EAEA. That's right. EAEA. Like that. Where the fourth string closest to your face is an E. The third string is an A. And the other two strings are as normal. E and A. That gives you a beautiful open A chord when you strum all the strings. Put one finger on the second fret of the third string. That gives you sort of an E chord. Slide up to the fifth fret and you get sort of a D chord. All of the shapes and concepts that I showed you on the baritone will work in this EAEA tuning. Of course, all the letter names will be different, but just play around with it and see what you find. I think you're going to find a lot of really nice musical surprises, whether it's BEBE or EAEA. Your choice. Be creative and have some fun with it.